All right, good morning. It's November 1st, the day after Halloween. We're all off our candy buzz from last night, and we're here ready to talk technology. Of course, we've got our coffee, Buddy Brew, and I would normally be talking about how bemoaning the fact that our coffee is not that great, but Buddy Brew coffee is phenomenal, and it rivals anything that I found in Portland and Seattle when I visited Portland and Seattle last week. Had a great trip. Went and saw all the rail systems, their transportation, their tech hubs. A lot of good things going on over there, but we got a lot of great things going on here, and a table to talk about it. Terry, we're going to start with you because I'm wearing your shirt. I went to your conference and I got a shirt. This is so cool.
That's right.
I got a black Robocon shirt. What is Robocon? Tell us about it.
Robocon was an first robotics showcase for kids throughout Tampa Bay and Florida, and we had 800 kids show up from 50 teams from around the state, a lot of them from Tampa Bay area. We had another 400 or 500 people walk in the door, and they got to see the big robotics showcase going. They got to see all the three different levels. They got to see first Lego League, first Tech Challenge, and first robotics competition. And they had a dozen workshops to choose from for the kids that were in attendance on everything from how to do a good presentation to business and marketing that were done by area businesses. Absolutely phenomenal event.
Okay, so I met some cool kids from Hillsborough High.
I got numbers too.
I'm going to go to Hillsborough, or is it King?
Oh, okay. Probably a few. But King was there. King has a new team.
King has a new team. They were all excited. Hillsborough on November 9th. I think it's a Saturday. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go see one of these teams. If I were interested, and I were in high school, and I wanted to get involved in this robotics project, or this robotics, what would I do? How would I find you?
Well, there's a couple different ways. You could email me, twillingham@usfirst.org, and I will help you get connected. You can also go to usfirst.org and see where the teams are in your area. Locally, the best way is probably to get in touch with me, and we can connect you with teams and ways to help out and mentor and volunteer and start a team.
We have a sponsor, Joy Randall. She sponsored the event, and I sat at her table, which was just fabulous. I was kind of in my post 6-hour flight haze. Kind of in a daze, but I was sitting there listening to her, listening to these amazing kids. Joy, why is Robocon so important? What does it mean to Tampa Bay to have an event like this?
I mean, I think it demonstrates, what can really happen with the STEM programs, right, that are out there. I mean, if you listen to the educators talk about how the kids have done this, I gotta say, aside from STEM and technology and all this stuff, even if the kids do nothing in that arena after they're done, I think that it gives them some really great skills that they get to use in real life. I mean, public speaking skills, I think it gives them confidence in what they do. Every kid that I've met who's participated in the program, my parents used to tell me when I was a little kid I didn't meet a stranger. I think these kids definitely exemplify that. They'll go up, they feel good about talking about things. You can put them on the spot, they respond really, really well. So
we had student ambassadors at every table, which was
they've got really cool interpersonal skills. I mean, I know Andrew, who's been one of your volunteers for a really long time. Tomas, who sat at our table, right, was really great.
Oh, yeah.
But I've met probably 20 kids that I've talked to kind of one-on-one out of the programs, from the really young kids that are like 8 or 9 years old all the way up. And I think it's pretty cool. I was interested. One of the things I observed, I'm watching an 8-year-old sitting in a chair writing code in real time, and I was like, that's impressive, from that perspective. So I think to me it gives them some really great life skills, as well as the technology
And from
skills.
our perspective, connecting them with the business community in Tampa Bay was just phenomenal. I've got some numbers. Can I give you some numbers?
Yeah,
from the
please.
event?
No, yeah, we love numbers.
We had 800 students from 50 K through 12 teams from 14 cities across Florida. We had more than 40 volunteers. Many of them were first alumni who come up through the program. Andrew, who works at MITRE, started. He won't even tell us what year he started, but he's been with First forever. 30% of the attending teams, about 40% of the student attendees came from out of town, booked 50 area hotel rooms. We had 500 guests from around Tampa Bay. We had 10,000 page loads in 3 months on the Robocon website. We reached over 1,000 people on the Facebook page. 15,000 accounts were reached on Twitter, almost 40,000 impressions. We were covered in 9 different local media, including Channel 8, WMNF, radio stations, internet radio stations, 2 live stream events, and 1 airline magazine. And we had corporate involvement from 25 companies in Hillsborough County. So, and a lot of them were giving back in terms of giving the presentations, connecting with the kids. We picked up over a dozen new mentors, which is fantastic that be helping out with the kids. And so it was just over $45,000 we estimated was invested into the local economy from the event. So it was just really fantastic. The Tampa Bay Sports Commission was phenomenal in helping make this happen.
Yeah, it was
And
really
thank you
impressed.
so for Hillsborough County. We couldn't have
Tampa
done it
Bay
without
Sports
you.
Commission.
Yeah.
Hey man, that was fantastic. UT, they
Yep.
gave us the space,
No, well, they give it to us for a good price.
and we want to do it at USF next year
Yes,
for a
we
good
do.
price.
Yes, we do.
Right?
Yeah, we
Brenda,
want
we're
a
gonna get
bigger
USF.
venue. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm Brenda Young from helping with Bar Camp event lead this year. We had the Robocon kids at a bar camp as well. I think one of the other issues that I wanted to tag on to what you had said is that these children are taking things that they've learned at school and putting them into action in real time. And it's one thing to learn something with someone that's standing in front of you telling you something that you're not really that sure you want to understand or like or get involved with, and then here it is in real life showing the application, and the excitement from the kids was just so fantastic at bar camp, and it was a pleasure to watch them and to listen to them talk to everyone. The other part of that was that they found each other, and they found adults that were just like me. And I think that that's such an important
That's the thing
thing.
they kept repeating about bar camp, is that they had such a good time talking to people who understood them and appreciated what they were doing.
Exactly, yeah, because they'll start the conversation with people saying something and being very polite and very politic about the way that they're talking about certain types of things so that they're not insulting you, that they know so much more than you do. So then as soon as they find out, hey, wait a minute, all these people here know just as much as I do. This is the best thing I've ever been to.
And they can teach me more.
And they can teach me more. Well, and it's the same thing at the same peer level when they're meeting up with each other. It's not always in high school about sports and reading, writing, arithmetic. There are other things that add a dimension to learning, and that part of that learning is being excited about it and being motivated to keep that interest up, to become a curious person about new things and about the new things that are happening
And to
in the
feel
world.
supported in the community, to have a community here that nurtures
Oh,
them and wants them to stay
exactly.
here.
How do we get more? We had 25 sponsors. I'm always
Right.
thinking I want 50. So how do we get?
Right,
how do we
right.
get 50
Well,
sponsors?
We will next year. We're actually starting earlier this year because we're going to be able to secure the venue earlier. We're trusting. We actually next year are going to be doing what we call the Robocon Challenge. And we're going to be offering a cash award to teams, hopefully corporate sponsored, in entrepreneurship and community service. So they're actually going to do a project and bring it, and that's going to be a regular staple of the event, Robocon Challenge. And I think we can bring in more corporate engagement that way, offer internships and apprenticeships in the area. I think there's a lot of ways we can tie the community in more strongly with this event. We're very excited about that. Have a bigger college and career expo, bring in more corporations. The one thing we heard back is people wanted more in the exhibit hall. So we definitely want to do that.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
great.
one of the things that the county's doing, and why I think this is so important to be talking about Robocon and showcasing, Bar Camp, which we supported, all these events, we've got private people who've been very involved in help making this successful, is that we have an EDI2 program. We got several folks here that are helping us with the EDI2. EDI2 is a $2 million county investment that's going to be used to help promote the startup community in Tampa Bay. And it's going to get us on the map. A map that right now, and at least you're looking at the Jones-LaSalle report that I downloaded this as I was flying back. Jones, Lang, LaSalle, high-tech office outlook, clustering continues across the U.S. as innovative companies, large and small, grow in core and emerging markets. And I noticed as I look at this big map that there's not even a single star anywhere in the state of Florida, which really ticks me off. So we're gonna have an imprint right there in Tampa Bay, and Robocon's gonna help us. But EDI2 is lifting us up. It's giving us some oxygen and air, right? Tell us about this.
It absolutely
Stephanie
is.
Savetitek,
Yay,
the world famous
Stephanie.
Stephanie Savetitek from the county. You can find her online, and her name, spell it just like it sounds, Savetitek.
No, you can reach me if there are any questions. It's cvetetics@hillsboroughcounty.org. And like the commissioner said, the EDI2 program is off to a just dynamic start. We're very excited about the organizations that were supported from the first meeting that we had of our advisory committee back in August. We have one of our advisory committee members here with us today. There were over $300,000 was allocated to support events and programs boosting the ecosystem of technology and entrepreneurship. We have some really exciting stories that we're already able to tell, and I think the one thing I'm so excited about is that we are already at our second deadline point for applications again. So we
How
see
do people apply?
So what you do is you go to the EDI2 website, which is hillsboroughcounty.org/EDI2. On the side, on the left-hand side of the screen, there is a button that says event or direct service provider application. Click there. It's now a fillable form, so you can just fill it online, email it to me, and that will go in the queue. The deadline is at noon on November 15th, so just a few weeks away. So we're very excited to get these applications rolling in, and our advisory committee will be meeting again on December the 5th. To evaluate them and to decide on the next round of funding. So we do very much encourage applications coming in, and my contact information is all on the website as well. If there are any questions, never hesitate to
Bob
reach
Francis,
out.
you are a member of the advisory board.
That is correct.
Why?
Because I am enthusiastic about entrepreneurship in Tampa Bay. And I can tell you, Mark, that I've been attending a lot of the events that we're helping to support, and they really are generating interest and doing good work here in the community. And I'm promoting the EDI2 initiative to a lot of the companies that I run into, and other groups that are thinking about starting these kinds of entrepreneurship programs. It's a great idea, Mark.
So when you're not like in Azerbaijan or Kazakhstan, where do you usually hang out?
Oh, I hang out in New Tampa or First Wave or.
Well, he's not looking for
USF
oil
Connect.
on the other side of the world. He's over here helping startups, and
That's
we're
where
really,
the oil is.
yeah, and we're glad to have you here.
Thank you.
Ken,
Yes,
what are you doing?
I'm here too. Wow, what a great intro. How long do you have? Well, now that bar camp is over, Joy, Brenda, and I, and a bunch of other people are, starting to think about next year. But the reason we asked to have something like EDI2 is because bar camp is just once a year. But we were talking before the camera started rolling today about what bar camp gives the community. That opportunity for anybody to step up on stage and share their passion. Whether it's a kid that's talking about robotics and they feel comfortable enough talking to an audience because they're passionate about that tech, or it's someone who's been in tech for 30 years, but they want to get out there and share with the people that are around them. So really EDI2 helps us think of other events and sponsor other events that keep that same mentality.
Now, if you
the
are
practical
watching this,
application.
if you're watching this live right now or on tape later, you can find Ken at Startup Monkey.
At
Startup
Follow
Monkey.
me on Twitter at Startup Monkey, which is the blog that I use to make fun of
Me.
I make fun of the commissioner. I make fun of all of the economic development people around the world, but especially in the state of Florida. I also use that to basically help other people promote events. So, I want to see more economic development, make this map meaningful, not just a dot, but actually something under the dot that makes sense, and make sure that we're investing in programs like EDI2, economic development programs that actually matter, where the money and the effort gets to the people that are actually building new products, starting new companies, holding events that are at a grassroots level for the people that are the true tech talent and creative talent that we have in Central Florida.
All right, now I'm going to throw this out to the whole group, but I read in Tampa Sphere blog, and if anybody wants to know what's going on in Tampa Bay related to transportation, innovation, and tech, one blog that I would suggest you look at is Tampa Sphere. And if you find out who's writing that blog, let me know. I'm at Mark Sharp FL. They do not identify themselves, but they're very well versed in what is going on in our community. And so, literally at 4:30 this morning, I was up reading Tampa Sphere blog. I go there first now. But I was noticing that they were talking about this shiny new building that's being built, an innovation center that's being built in Orlando at the Lake Nona facility that Tavistock is behind, that Florida Blue is going to be inhabiting. And Florida Blue is saying that they need this facility in order to do some of the work that they're doing, and they're going to be co-locating with a lot of other folks. Tell me, I know we talk about, shiny buildings and important or not important, but I still think it's a pretty significant event for Orlando, and it might even help us in some ways. But I mean, when we talk about innovation and hubs and such, do we need places for people to meet, and do we have enough of them right here in Tampa Bay?
Well, I mean, people are doing it every day at coffee shops. They're doing it at pubs. They do it all over. It's a peer-to-peer type thing. It's not something that generally happens in a structured environment. And there was an article by Bob Turgot a month ago about incubators. We really don't have any incubators here. We have some business accelerators.
When we say here, we're talking
in Tampa Bay. This side, that side, Sarasota, Lakeland. Incubators are where people sit around and actually think about the ideas and have the support structure to build new products. Yeah,
Right? It's like
It's
what
a-
people used to term as a think tank.
It's a think tank. We have accelerators that help people that after they've started a company or started building a product, help kind of vet more things and give them a little bit of guidance. And it's a structure for doing mentoring. But that's not really where the innovation happens. The innovation happens one or two people. Sometimes it happens inside a big company and then breaks out into a joint venture or its own startup. And sometimes it happens just two people sitting at a coffee shop working on things. As far as I don't know about the shiny building in Orlando, my guess is if Florida Blue needs a shiny building, they have plenty of money to go build their own shiny building, and they don't need my help or my tax dollars. So, put up a building.
Well, we're going to have a shiny place.
Yeah, well, you have a
Community
shiny
Innovation
place,
Center
and
is
that
there.
shiny place is going to be so intimidating, so structured, so clean, and so expensive that two people that are actually working on an interesting new product, they're not hanging out there.
I think
they're down the street at a Starbucks or a Panera. So, you think
I'm looking
big,
something up while you go.
big
Go ahead.
companies do not have a lot of new innovation. Big companies have a lot of cost savings, and this is not against big companies, but their motivation of their balance sheet is to drive down cost and expand revenue.
It's shareholder value, period. If
it's
you're a
shareholder
public
value,
company,
yeah.
you are bound to shareholder value, period.
Yeah. So if that's why a lot of times bigger companies, be it tech companies or other, look to license products that are done by smaller companies to once they get mature enough, they grab onto them, they license them, or they do an outright acquisition of the small company so they can get that technology. But they're not looking to their own workforce, or they're not looking to their own existing partnerships for that innovation.
Okay, but you're right. The big guys can build a facility if they want to build. Did you want to say something? Go.
I just wanted to say, so from a county perspective, I 100% agree with what you're saying. I think it's very refreshing, though, from a county perspective, being that when we are sitting in this role as what is the role of government in supporting an ecosystem, I do think it's refreshing to see large organizations coming into the mix, and so we can all work together
absolutely.
when it comes to driving ecosystems like that. So I just, the fact
Right.
that they're involving and engaging, I think, is, from a government perspective, refreshing.
Well, yeah, it was great. We could Robocon. You needed that corporate involvement to really
It-
feed back into it.
Because it takes all sectors in the community
Right.
to make this work.
Right, and with the Community Innovation Center that we're working on, which again, thanks to EDI2,
Of
is very
course.
exciting. That's going to provide some, community space for people to come and,
Yes.
and think
Yeah,
and do.
it's about product, and it's about coming up with a new idea to build something, a product or a service. It's not about the marketing if you don't have a product. It's not about
Right.
the branding if you don't have a product. I got an email this morning from the Tampa Bay Partnership inviting me to their annual conference, and the speaker at that conference is a branding expert. You might as well have a cosmetics expert, because it's really about putting more lipstick on the pig. It's not about fixing the problem. It's not about saying we have a great product and that product will invite a good brand image and invite people to want to be here. It's about let's just market, along with all the other economic development organizations and all the other organizations that are out there, that Tampa's a great place to be. And the default great place to be becomes we're a great climate for business with our beaches and stuff like that.
Because that's easy to do. I mean,
Well, it's
we-
lazy to do it that way.
But easy isn't good.
Oh, exactly.
Okay?
No, I'm not
I mean,
saying.
you know.
I'm the one who's
So-
arguing that we should be
So
going with easy.
I think, to your point though, I do think we have some great things we could market, but we don't. Right? So if we're going to market something, the challenge is if Tampa's going to market or the partnership is going to market, or any county in the partnership for that matter, the exact same thing that everyone else in the state of Florida is marketing, then my answer would be, so what? We all know we have Mickey Mouse and amusement parks and sand. Big deal.
Okay, but I'm not interested in marketing. I mean, I want to market Tampa Bay. I want Tampa Bay to thrive. But I really believe that when we start having a lot of activity and folks that are coming here starting businesses, when you see a really vibrant startup community, what you do have, and it talks about it here, and it affects the value of real estate. And we have a real estate expert who just walked in, Eric Odom. Eric, why don't you come over here? The next gen, LinkedIn.
Poor Eric,
He just
he's
came
like,
here-
great, just
he
what I
just
wanted.
came here for a cup of coffee. But if you want to find the LinkedIn, if you want to go to LinkedIn, look up Eric Odom, get involved in the next gen conversation. This guy's one of the smartest guys I know in Tampa Bay. He understands the real estate market. Eric, I was popping up this map. This is a Jones Lang LaSalle report talking about the impact of how tech startups can impact the real estate market in a positive fashion. What are you seeing here in Tampa Bay with regard to with our real estate market? And do you think that if we had a more vibrant tech community, it would help?
Oh, absolutely. It really comes down to the urban environment, right? I mean, it's all about walking and trying to create density. And it's not just density from the creative side of the tech side. It's also from the real estate side. I mean, you start ending up with transportation hubs, and it works out from there. So, I mean, as far as you're asking about Tampa, where we are right now, I mean, unfortunately, Tampa doesn't have that transportation infrastructure, and I think it's going to be very challenging to create what would typically be a hub without that transportation infrastructure. And you look at the other cities, Boston, Chicago, New York, where this is where these things are happening. Even Austin.
This is a man after my own heart. You ask him a question about tech startups, and like me, we shift right into where's our transportation. I love it, and I agree with you.
That density is going to help with the real estate. It'll help with everything, and we're kind of at a standstill right now. So many of my clients, we have this, and also in the real estate world, we talk about you can't get there from here, and folks talk about, well, it's socialism if you build a transit system. It's some of the craziest things that are out there. But take a drive to Clearwater. Take a drive down 19. You want to see what lack of proper planning does? It's like a third world on US 19. Drive down 19, there's abandoned, boarded up buildings on 60 out to Clearwater. And we joke about it, but it's really not funny. You can't get there from here. It's the old REM song. People don't live in Clearwater because they can't get there from here. And if you don't have the infrastructure of work in the Clearwater, then the town's going to die. And that's what we're seeing all over the area in pockets, that things just are falling apart. But the other areas, like downtown Tampa, it has a law, it's very legal centric, and it's vibrant. It does fine. West Shore, because it's a hub. I saw the. I'm sorry to ramble on and kind of take over your show.
No, we brought you in here, so we're glad you're talking, man. This is what happens when you come to Buddy Brew Coffee on Friday morning. You just walk by, we're going to put you in front of a microphone.
I love the Department of Transportation actually yesterday went ahead and decided to or it was the day before yesterday, I lost track of time.
Anas Prasad, the Secretary of Transportation for Florida, came and basically said
that
we're going to make the bridge.
Exactly. We're going to have a rail, I guess a support system.
Rail-friendly bridge.
That's a rail-friendly bridge. That's correct. That's correct.
Which is very important because you've got Gateway and West Shore, two of the largest, commercial markets in all of Florida, separated by 12 miles and a bridge. When we rebuild the bridge, what you want to make sure is that when you're building toll lanes, and everybody loves toll lanes, which and regular lanes, you want to have a span there which will be available for a rail link.
Correct. And if you're living in Pinellas County, it's I mean, you talk to enough of the folks, but you wonder why it's taking this long to come to the conclusion. You can't get to Tampa Airport. You can't get to Tampa International Airport and catch your flights unless somebody drives you, because you're going to take one of the shuttles. It's $75 each way from the beaches. The $150 is almost as much as an airline ticket.
It cost me $2.50 to leave the Embassy Suites downtown Portland, where I was last week, and take the rail line into the airport at Portland. $2.50. And there was a lot of people at 5:30 in the morning who were on that rail line going to the airport.
Well, I forget the percentage, but there's a significant portion of the traffic that's on I-75 is dedicated to folks from Pinellas heading to the airport. It's a significant piece. If you can take a big portion of those out and drop them off at the terminal of Tampa International Airport, it's a game changer. It really is.
All my Facebook friends who are members of the Tea Party are right now madly trying to send, text messages saying, and I'll respond to all of your Facebook posts later, sometime after a couple beers. But right now, we're going to continue this conversation about how we make Tampa Bay really one of the most vibrant markets in all of the United States when it comes to tech and tech startups. And in fact, another amazing person who makes things happen in Tampa Bay and gets things stirred up with STEM is Whit Ostrinko. Whit, sit down here, buddy. He just came to get a cup of coffee too. But Whit Ostrinko is the director of Mosey, and he's going to be at USF today with me at 1, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I talked him into coming and talk to a bunch of students. We're going to talk about STEM. Yeah, you never know. This is like the Jay Leno show. He just shows up. This guy is really amazing. But this guy has done a lot for STEM, and really, when we talk, we got Terry. You know Terry?
Hey, Whit.
Yeah, Terry, robots. We got Joy Randall, world famous VC person who gives lots of money. So if you're looking for money, you got Joy and you got Stephanie. From the government, you get your government. Private side, you get your government. And we have mentors, Brenda and Bob. So we got a great group here. So Whit, tell us what's going on at Mosey.
Well, we just finished our 12-year master plan.
A master plan. Woohoo! How does that master plan affect us?
Well, it's a new way of looking at science centers nationally, and we're going after a designation called a STEAM zone: science, technology, engineering, art, and design, and math. We went to Tallahassee, and they love the concept of creating a zone where nothing but STEAM issues are talked about, filling that career pipeline from preschoolers all the way through elementary and middle school, getting them excited about doing the hard high school courses, and so that they're ready for either going into college or starting their own job.
I know Larry Plank with Hillsborough County Schools is doing a phenomenal job promoting STEAM and STEM in our schools. And I really do have a credit Mariel and Elia and the whole school board of what they're doing here in Hillsborough County.
So Larry Plank is on our education advisory board, and Mariel and Elia is on our board, and we're building together a STEAM high school.
A STEAM high school. Where will that STEAM high school be?
Located right at Mosey.
Now, what if you can't go to the STEAM high school? I mean, everybody wants to go to the STEAM high school, but will there be a way for students to participate?
Absolutely. It'll be a virtual school as well. You can go participate online. You can, and that's the key
with technology, we ought to all be able to kind of beam in.
You can take. You don't have to go to any classroom. You can get your high school diploma online. You can get your college diploma online. So I think about Mosey's positioning itself is to work across the whole spectrum. We're working with veterans coming back, at-risk adults. Their highest unemployment rate. I mean, it's ridiculous. These people are regimented, know how to study, and we got to find them the skills to work, fill those, what is it, now 4,000 unfilled tech jobs in Tampa Bay, just at the big companies.
I have to give a plug to Diane Egner and 83 Degrees. They're going to be doing an event, I believe it's the first week of November, which focuses on our veterans coming back to Tampa Bay and helping them find jobs. Bob,
I saw that announcement this morning. In fact, I'm signing up to go. That announcement was out this morning. I shared it with a couple of my buddies who are starting companies as retired and returning veterans, because it is a good idea for them. They have great skill sets, but they really don't have the experience and the knowledge of getting started. It's a great way to do it, and I'm going to.
I want to give a shout out to both the University of South Florida, which ranks in the top 5 for veteran support, HCC and Dr. Atwater, which they've created a program now to help our veterans, and 83 Degrees Media, Diane Egner. They're very involved in helping to promote all this. So if you want information, it's available. I would encourage you to go online right now, find it, get involved, and hire a vet.
And don't forget the kids, young kids that are in impoverished areas, and don't forget they get high school diplomas that may not be applicable to getting a job. So we're gonna take that conversion for those young at-risk adults and help them out.
Well, let me tell you something. What really impressed me when I went to the RoboCon, and when I've gone to the hackathons, and I've gone out there and looked at the kids that are doing all the coding and tech work, It's an incredibly diverse universe of kids. I mean, I met a young man from Hillsborough High last week who just blew my socks off. I brought my 12-year-old son there, and first off, he went out of his way to shake my son's hand, to say he would help him with coding, to talk about all the things he did. I thought this kid looked like he had played football for any football team, in high school in America. He said, no, I do cross country, but I focus on tech. And his mom, who later Facebook friended me and sent me a Twitter message, was so proud of her son, but was talking about where this kid was going to go to college. He was going to study mechanical engineering. And so there's just a lot of cool things going on in our county, and it's an incredibly diverse universe.
I got to tell you the Brian story. We have this kid that just went through all the Mosey summer science camp classes, and I walked into our media lab this summer, and he was in there teaching cybersecurity. He's only 18. He's teaching other high school kids, and his parents never went to college. They didn't know how to help him to go to college. Mosey helped him, and he got a full scholarship to the top engineering school in the country for the last 14 years. Can you even name
I met
it?
this young man.
I thought it was like MIT.
Out of Indiana.
It's Indiana, Rose-Hulman.
Rose-Hulman, yeah.
I mean, for Christ's sake. And he did that really on his own. He just
And
blindly...
that's the importance of the community thing we've been talking about, is they have to have this community that nurtures them, that gives back to them, that mentors, that they can then give back into as employees, as business owners, as entrepreneurs. So if we build this ecosystem
Well, what's
where
so
all
cool
nurtures
is
it, it's fantastic.
You got people like Joy Randall, who really honestly, time is money. The woman makes money. She travels constantly. She spends her time here giving back. And every time I'm at an event, there's joy at the event. And I'm sure she's thinking, I'm looking for the next great idea to invest in, but she's also helping young people get involved. Bob Francis. Again, literally, you spend a lot of your time on the other side of the planet, but you're over here helping our kids. Ken, Ken Evans, started Monkey. He could be anywhere. He's over here mentoring. Brenda Young. You guys spend your time mentoring and doing things for our community. So what really is just blowing my socks off is how many people we have who are involved in the startup community who are mentoring and helping out young people.
Yeah, we just had our National Hispanic Scientist of the Year. He's a Colombian from Aventura. I messed up the city he's from. It's a totally black city, former slaves.
Really?
He was totally impoverished as a kid. He invented his way out of that poverty and wound up somebody supported him at a private school in Connecticut. He now has a PhD in microbiology, works for NASA, and he said that, it's that science thing where you discover new things in the world that we didn't know before. But it doesn't get you a job, or it doesn't make you any money. He says we have to be capitalists, and he really is pushing the poor to understand that, and you can don't be poor. It's almost a will to, and with mentorships and people like us around this table to help those people.
Wouldn't it be amazing? I know that Stephanie and Savannah Tech and our county government is really involved in helping startups. But wouldn't it be amazing if at all levels of government, federal, state, and local, instead of spending our time trying to figure out new ways to shut the government down, we'd figure out ways to help startups. Literally get out of the way of the citizens, minimize as much as we possibly can regulation, but at the same time, work with all these incredible people who come from incredibly diverse backgrounds, many of them who don't have job opportunities in other areas, but now are finding this can be an area I can start my own business. I was with Kurt Long, Fair Warning. Man, that guy is amazing. He's doing a mentorship program over in Pinellas County. You got to look into this. But Kurt talks about the fact that he didn't want to get involved in a program where he helped people train to go work for someone else.
Right.
Kurt's like, I want to train entrepreneurs. And when you look at the kids that are engaged with Kurt Long in his program, again, these are the type of kids that in other worlds might be in trouble, but are now really coming up with ideas to start businesses. This could solve a lot of our problems.
Absolutely. Dr. Cuero started this, he called it Inventors Camp. It's a park in Colombia that takes kids, and it's a real laboratory. And he brought Diana, who started out as a 15-year-old, is now she's 22, third year of medical school, but she had to take 6 months off because her project as a 15-year-old was trying to cure her grandmother's Alzheimer's. And Dr. Claire said, well, you gotta deprotonize that protein. I don't really know what it is. So, but
How do you do that?
well, she figured it out.
Really?
She's in negotiation with Johnson & Johnson now for a bunch of money for her invention.
We just need them to know that.
How-
Yeah.
how
Well,
can that possibly be?
TEDx Youth, on November
Is it that-
16th, we've got an Intel Science, one of the Intel Science Award winners speaking, and she's like 16 and came up with a biofuel out of algae.
That's who we should give
The
Heisman
Merminator.
trophies to, is kids like that or
Exactly.
mentors like that.
I saw you cross the street, thought you were getting yourself killed. Commissioner Sandy Merman, phenomenal commissioner, District 1. You're not running for re-election until 16, right? 16.
Where are the shirts for?
Robocon.
Robotics event we
We
have.
got to get you involved in Robocon.
Yes. How are you? Good to see you. Really good to see you.
Hi, Sandy. Good to see you again.
Yeah, Sandy's a great supporter of all things tech. I'm glad to have you here. Car broke down, getting her tire fixed.
Right. Can I make one more comment
quick
about government and how government can help? I think people really need to look at things a little bit differently in terms of what does a 21st century economy need? And I think that that's where a lot of people get stuck, is that we do need things that are commonalities. There is a role for government. There is a role for infrastructure. It's a different kind of infrastructure, but still there's some basics. We need roads. We need transportation. We need other things that make things work. We need a good school system, but we also need to get people connected. It's where innovation happens when people are familiar enough with each other, but can find that other person who's that spark for innovation. And those are the types of things that can happen. But we really need to look at things very differently in terms of what the 21st century is going to be as an economy and where those things need to fit in place versus what we've always done, which is really coming from an agrarian and a manufacturing background. And it doesn't mean that we ignore those things, because we still need food and we still need manufacturing. It's that we have other things that we can and should be doing, and things that are virtual, programming and tech and all those types of things, they don't use up resources the way a tree or a lump of coal or other types of things do. So we need to build a bigger pie and make a bigger economy where a lot more people can share, and we can bring in people like Whit just talked about, that are amazing young people that can make that next generation into the 21st century happen.
Brenda, I think that you're onto something, and that is that it's not just an accelerator or an incubator. It's creating an environment where people who want to do something can get together.
Yes.
Robocon, bar camp, or those kinds of things. You don't start businesses there, you get ideas there. Once you start a business, then you go to an accelerator like First Wave or USF Connect, and you can grow the business. But what we need to do, and what we are doing, is creating the environment where people who want to do something can get together with others and get their ideas formed into a business.
Exactly, and having someone like Marvin Scaff from Dex Imaging give a workshop to kids on business plan development,
Yeah.
where they're actually listening to someone who has a really successful, I mean, it's just amazing to do that, and some of the other people that spoke. So there's these people who are experienced, who know, who have proven that their insights and their experience work. Giving this back in, to the community at this age is just phenomenal. So.
We have another one of those events coming up. Startup Weekend Tampa Bay is coming up in just a couple of weeks. 22nd? It'll be Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, so it's a full weekend where you have a chance. Again, you aren't necessarily starting a company, but you're vetting ideas. You're working with people for 3 days straight to figure out if there is actually something of value there. And if a company gets started or a product gets built, it usually is after that weekend, but it's the jamming together of 150, 200 people on a Friday afternoon to say, what if? And do we have the right environment to think about this as a group?
Actually, it's pretty funny. You talk about Startup Weekend. So the last one, the kid that won, that app's available in iTunes today. They completed it. They completed the first version of it over the weekend. And then they refined it over the next 30, 45 days. But it's been submitted, accepted, and so it's actually available to purchase. 14.
Wow.
And so he's not a developer, right? But he had the idea, he had the concept, he came in, found some developers who thought it was a cool idea, which isn't that hard to do if you've got what his pitch was,
Yes.
right? And he did a great job, though, of pitching. So I think he sold people based on, he got up, took his 60 seconds, and he did a great job of pitching. And there were like 10 people lined up to go participate with him once he was done. So, I mean, I think the events are great events. It's really more about the principles you learn while you're there and the methodologies, but I think they're great events. Great events.
Startup Weekend also gives people a place and a group of people for anyone that is thinking, well, maybe I do have an idea, but it's that safe environment surrounded by people who can be mentors, who can help them vet an idea, or just get that person pushed to the fence and then up on the fence and then over the fence so that now they've got this new idea. Whether or not it becomes successful doesn't even really matter. It's that percolation of ideas and percolation of the people that think, hey, this is something that I might be able to do, and here's some other people I can find who can help me.
But some of them really do can become successful. Like Exmo that we used at Bar Camp this year, right, came out of Startup Weekend. The app is available today. They got a recent write-up in TechCrunch.
Yep.
I mean, so they've done really, really well. So, I mean, the guys, they never knew each other, actually, before that event, met there, formed a company, and now they actually have a real company that's up running.
Yes, it's tampabay.startupweekend.org.
Yes.
Right?
I believe so, yes.
And 22nd of November, it starts. It's a 3-day event.
Yep. At the Epicenter at St. Pete College.
Cool. I would encourage everybody to look it up and get involved.
Buy your tickets now because the ticket price goes up as we get closer to the event.
Really? What's the ticket price?
I think it's $99 to attend. And you register as either a designer, creative, or as a developer, so we have a nice balanced crowd.
Or a business person. I think there's
Or a
there's
business
three
person,
options,
but you go, and when we did this in the spring, they had 50 presentations, I believe, that they whittled down to 17 or 18
It was actually
companies.
more than that. It was almost 100. It was painful.
It was an
actually.
insane number of presentations,
It was
but we
painful.
crammed all that into Friday night, and by Sunday you had 19 companies presenting their ideas for new companies and new products.
I think they're going to limit the number this time
Right.
because it became a little bit unmanageable the
Yeah.
last time.
So if you've got a great idea, even if you don't get selected, it's a great place to meet people. It's a great place to test your idea. Come to share. Don't come to hide your idea. Come to talk about it in front of a large group of people who will give you feedback, and maybe you'll even form a team.
And if you don't, you'll still learn the great principles. So even if your idea doesn't get picked,
Yeah.
doesn't mean you still can't pursue your idea, but you learn the principles of building the company during the course of the weekend.
Well, all those people that come with ideas that don't get picked usually don't go away. They
Right.
join other teams
That's right.
and they participate through the weekend.
course.
So it's a learning and sharing environment for anybody, and you're going to walk away with a lot of great friends, great contacts, and some great grassroots tech and business knowledge.
Yeah, you don't have to be in Silicon Valley or Seattle or San Francisco or Boston or any of the cities that seem to be mentioned, often when you talk about startups and the startup community. What I'm finding is that the startup community is spreading all over the country, all over the world. And we have a huge environment of startup activity right here in Tampa Bay. I mean, just right on this table, you start hearing, this event sounds incredibly exciting. And anybody who thinks, you know what, I got to go to Silicon Valley to test the idea, I would suggest you start it right here
Yes.
in Tampa Bay. Give it a shot. And there's capital, there are mentors, there's a lot of amazing people that are ready to help you out. I know we're heading towards the end of the 30. This as we do this, and we'll be doing this every Friday, I would encourage you to get involved. If you've got a shout out that you need me to shout out or any of us to shout out, come here or text us, and we will make sure that we get you mentioned. We want to give everyone as much opportunity and airtime as possible, but we're really excited about what's going on. I want to thank everybody who comes to this and sits through the conversation for what you've done for our community, because you've really made a difference. I'm beginning to see a new Tampa. And Eric's excited because that means there's going to be an opportunity to lease a lot of property, right, Eric?
Build, baby, build.
And just me to can I just stick my head in here?
Yeah.
Just getting another plug, the Gasparilla Music Fest, which is a big part of now the downtown community. And obviously in March we have a lot of activities to attract people and get young people excited about wanting to be here. And hopefully we're going to attract some tech folks out of that as well. Gasparilla Music Fest.
That's kind of our own South by Southwest.
That's correct.
Kinda. I like to think of it that way.
We're within a month of I think this week we'll probably sign our headline. I think this week, and we'll probably announce in about a month. But tickets, early tickets are on sale, and we
A lot
love
of
to see
young
you guys.
people, a lot of fun.
Last year we had over 10,000 people and sold out, and so I expect it to go very quickly. As ticket sales are going very, very well, but there's a good chance for you right now to get early and lower prices.
Where do they go if they want tickets?
GasparillMusicFestival.com.
Cool. Anything else we need to plug? No.
I just want to say thank you, Hillsborough County, from Learning is for Everyone, for helping us do RoboCon. It was fantastic. We were delighted to have you there, and we're looking forward to all the other things we're going to do together.
Well, I have to really give credit to our county administrator, Mike Merrill, to the director of our economic development, and this entire staff, because they truly do want to make a difference, and they recognize that we're not the leaders, we're the feeders, but we're here to support. And Stephanie, thank you, and thank Ron Barton, and thank the entire team for all that they're doing to try to get it right. All right, see you next week.